Assalamu alaikum to all of you, those who have joined us in a series of Bridging the Gap webinar series, which we have been doing for last 2 years from the platform. My name is Almas Abbasali and I'm the Head of Education South here based in Karachi. And I'm very much happy to be joined by Sadia Zahid, who is a seasoned HR professional and change manager. I'll be sharing her very interesting and beautiful of you what she has been doing. Time, it's very important to share with you why we are having these, that within the strategic professional level examinations, ACCA has introduced, give me 1 minute please. Yeah, so I was just mentioning that within the strategic professional level exams, ACCA has introduced strategic business leader, we call it SBL. This is the examination which uses 100% integrated case study, which of the organization and all the breadth and depth of the different functions of the organization, whether it's the finance, whether it's the customer engagement, or it's the forecasting related to financial aspect. So the overall SBL examination mainly assesses the technical that potential leaders need to demonstrate in senior positions within organizations. And it also focuses on the building and development of the skills and behaviors like leadership at the end of the day. So in order to students across studying this strategic business leader subject and going to sit the exam in December and in future as well. And in fact, these sessions are equally meaningful for students who are studying the exam at the strategic professional level of ACCA qualification. Now, why we have been doing these webinars? Primarily because we really want to help students to broaden their overall understanding of the practical topics which brings in. And what these sessions do, that we invite the industry expert, as we have invited Sadia, and she has kindly taken out her time from her busy schedule. She will be sharing with you her expertise and experience with you regarding the topic, which is a digital transformation. And then we really want to make you inquisitive and curious about this topic. So today is the session, not first and last, but it's an invitation for you all to broaden your understanding and have an interesting approach towards studying towards the strategic business leader paper. So I would like to share the profile of Sadia. Sadia is a seasoned HR professional and change manager with proven record of 18 years in companies like Sapphire Retail, Fatma Group, Descon, and Berger Paints. She has managed all facets of HR from organizational design to performance management, building succession pipeline, capability and capacity enhancement, organizational restructuring, and cost optimization. Now, through these sessions, we have tried, and Sadia insight from the Sapphire overall digital transformation point of view. And it's, I think, going to be a small case study where how Sadia has been part of this entire journey of digital transformation, and Sapphire has been able to use it as a key component to make not but during the COVID and after the COVID, it formed as a whole structure. So without further delay, I would request Sadia to start sharing her session with all of you, and announcement chat section available with you where you can ask questions. And after some 30-minute good time, when Sadia is over with her presentation, then we will start the Q&A session. And I, as the moderator of the session, will be asking questions, and Sadia will be happy to respond to those. So please do put in your questions, do put your insights, comments, and do share the knowledge with others who are attending this. We will be recording this session, and the recording will be made available through our landing page, which has been dedicated for these sessions with the name of Bridging the Gap webinars. So you can go to the Google, just write Bridging the Gap ACC webinars, and you will get the list of all past webinars recording, which have been delivered by the marvelous industry speakers. So Sadia, over to you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Almas, for your kind word, and it's indeed a very happy moment as a professional for me that I will be talking to the future of this country. Which is as professionals is our responsibility to somehow whatever we have learned in our professional life we should pass on to these people, and accordingly we should maintain that knowledge sharing session. So as she mentioned, I am Sadia, and in my current portfolio, I am working with the Sapphire. It's been almost 8 months of the journey in this organization so far, and enjoying working specifically on new things when in this changing situation when the survival is the key. What differentiation you are doing in terms of optimizing your processes, in terms of bringing new systems, in terms of leaning and restructuring your current systems and bringing the lean structure in place, in terms of making people's life easy through bringing the digitalized platforms. So today's topic is all about, we'll be talking small little examples from business, and we'll be talking more towards how organizations work on the digital transformation for the optimized results. So my first discussion point would be digital is all about your mindset. It's not that it's a set of rules or a paper in the examination. It's your mindset. So every change process is the mindset. Once we accept it through our mind that yes, the change is inevitable, only then we can implement any change process, be it digitalization or be it anything else. We all know that no one was ready for this COVID. COVID was a very uncertain and very unusual thing happened to the across the world, and the whole world took a entirely a new change process to adopt this new normal, and then in this new normal act and contribute towards the business. So we will keep this thing in mind in terms of digitalization, in terms of change management, or in terms of this thing that if something unusual or unplanned happen, how we have to respond in our personal or in our professional life. It happened in so many cases that when as a student you get a very unusual question in the paper, and then what you at first you get surprised, shocked, and then once your mind accept that, you accordingly start responding or reacting. So today's topic is all about how organizations take a leap towards a digital transformation and what kind of results they expect from that digitalization. My discussion will be more not just focus on the digitalization and how organization will turn around all the processes from a manual system to digitalization, but more towards the outcome, be it you are digitizing the process or be it you are just revisiting your current system and processes and making it happen in a very business oriented or um, high productivity based process based on the business scenarios, internal and external both. So we will be more talking towards that. So as you So the secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. As we just talk about that it's about not there is something new we all know. There is something old we all knew. There is a working style we all know. But what is the new we all have to learn? As you know that when you start see when you start building uh, a new house, the most important part is the foundation. The most important part is to spend more time on the foundation, a strong foundation building, and then you build up the remaining structure. So when you give more focus time to building the foundation, the results are always the reliable. So our energy should not be more towards the house, the old house was like that, this building is like that, this house society has certain design. No, but our focus is that I have to have a very sustainable house who have a very strong foundation and a long-term sustainability who is meeting all my requirements. So I'll talk more towards now the digital transformation in this journey. When I joined, I had two organizations under me. One was Sapphire Retail, which you all know as a brand, the clothing brand, very famous in the market. And the other side was the production unit, where this all beautiful clothing stitching is happening, or the designing, printing is happening. So it's a huge setup of more than 2,500 employees and high influx of workload. When I took over and we realized, and when we started our evaluation process, where we had to start, where we had to take a HR kickstart, and which things we should be doing first and which thing we should be doing in next phase. The first thing we realized that yes, there are a lot of processes are there, and it takes a lot of time. So why don't we just think and digitalize our basic systems and processes? And the first was human capital management. We already had that system in place in our retail, but all the things were happening in a haywire and a very manual mode there. So what we had our feasibility ready. We had discussion with the IT, with a very lean team, to be honest, with comprises of 2 team members in my dad organization and 1 team member from my corporate team. We started to embark this journey, and we took a leapfrog approach, and we started off this journey in, I guess, June. And today, as of I'm talking to all of you, that we digitalize all our management employees end to end. We digitalize all our daily wages employees, and now we digitalize. There is a third term we called a piece rate. A piece rate employees comprises that if the number of pieces he or she will make, organization will pay them. And it was a very tough for us to maintain the record, the attendance record, in and out and all that. Now it is just a click that whenever he or she is entering in a building, he or she will just put her attendance, and the record will be available in the system. So why digital transformation organization do, as in this changing world scenario where your own presence is very inevitable based on the new normals and how the whole world is evolving around the AI, artificial intelligence and all. Your current processes, your lean processes have the major role in that. So digital transformation, what we learned, what we experience is that when you bring the digital transformation, when you do something digitalized way, the first reaction was for us as well that, oh, whatever, we were okay with what we are doing, our process is fine, we just used to sign and then let's move. But after the journey of these 3-4 months, now employee realized that yes, these changes have made our lives easy as well. Now I can see my whole functions, even the attendance in terms of production. If I talk about, I can just see the whole attendance of my function, just click of a button. So through this, you empower your employees because the transparency of the information is available on just one click of a button. Your analytics are available on one click of a button. I remember if even for a small emergency, if we had to find the blood group of people, how many people are available for O positive and A positive, etc., we used to have this record manually. Now on just a one click of a button, I knew that in my whole organization which blood groups are available. These are just very small examples to clarify how a digitalized process help to enhance the productivity. You have more engaged customers because you can share the information timely. If I talk about HR, all my customers are internal. So if any of my functional head needs some information related to my employees, it's available on just a click of a button. If they need employment history, if they need certain people on a certain grade, if they need employment history with the organization, if they need it age wise, qualification wise, I just select that qualifier and I just take the report out. And then you transform the processes. It is the one of another outcome of the digital transformation, that you transform the processes through your digital transformation. And outcome, my dear, are very very obvious. That outcome of all these processes are your optimized operations, and most importantly your time saving. You save a lot of time when your processes are optimized, when your process transformed, you engage your stakeholders, both internal and external, and you have more empowered employees because you have given them a lot of authority towards managing their processes. So there's a whole level of maturity in terms of digital transformation. So it starts from no maturity to integrated and transformation. It is obviously a research based, available on all your internet. You can read while having Google it, and you can, if you want to read it further. So I will link this whole 5-level approach with my organization. So no maturity means digital change has been discussed in some areas, but there is still no implementation strategy. What does that mean? You here and there discussed about the digital transformation strategy. You think that you should go for it, you talk about it, but you don't form any formal strategy about it. So it fizzled out. It somehow fizzled out. Conceptual level means digital transformation has already been carried out with certain projects, but no cross-departmental corporate strategy can be defined. So as I given you example a few minutes earlier, that we had a human capital management system who was running already in another business, and we never thought that it should same be implemented in production side as well. So in bits and pieces, the solutions were available. In some part of the organization you did visualize few processes, but on the other part of the organization you just couldn't take it as part of your whole change management process, and some or the other it was missed because it was not defined at a corporate level, at top level, that digital transformation is a top priority. So it is very important when it comes to planning any change. The commitment from the top is very important. When I say commitment from the top, it doesn't mean just the CEO of the organization or the owner of the organization. Top means the leadership team who is driving it. For me, in manufacturing, the top management was from my side was my functional head, and from the other side was a manufacturing head. Without the top management ownership, without the top management commitment and their buy-in, we would not have been able to implement that there. So the top management commitment is very important. The message should be given top to bottom that the strategy of implementing the change is aligned, be it a digital transformation, be it any other process transformation. It has to be aligned. So this is your step one. The second step is defined. If you achieve this conceptual step, it means you can now define your strategy and develop from pilot project experiences. So what we did in HCM implementation as well in my organization, we initially did a pilot project for the management employees only, which were only 200 people. So when we completed the pilot project with the that population, we realized and we got this confidence test, yes, we can do for more. And basic awareness of digital change developed within the company is very important. So what we did as part of our journey, when we developed this and we implemented this, for the very first time in production unit, in manufacturing unit, people used to even see their salary slips online. People were able to apply their leaves online. People used to apply the official commitments online, and people used to see the same for their teams. So as a pilot project, we used it for our selling point. We shared with our stakeholders, and that was our confidence they got the confidence, even we were more confident that we can do it for the mass. And as part of our bigger strategy, then we took it for our massive population. And the next point was integrated. Digital media is integrated more deeply into business models where strategies have been developed and implemented. Core processes, products, and services are digitalized. Now, this is very important. When you are on to the digital transformation journey, the integration is the most important part. I will give you the example of my ex-employer when I was working with Fatma Group. So we used to have Oracle there. We used to have our human capital module there. We implemented there. It started off with the basic service delivery model operations, and last year when I left this organization. So what the integration level we reached was that from starting an employee from a recruitment module, which means that if you go on the LinkedIn and you click the link, you can apply directly on the recruitment module of the Fatma Group. Your application, all the details will be synced in the system. Through system, our recruitment person used to manage the interview, and even within the system, we used to fill our assessment form within the system. Our offer was used to refer to the rewards manager, or rewards manager used to prepare the offer, and obviously not from the system as yet. As when I left, we used to we used to send the offer to candidate used to accept it. We used to send it a link where he used to upload all his information, and it was directly sync in with the system. Now the person become part of the system. He has spent good 60 months with the system. From system, his probation was initiated. It is closed. From system, his annual objectives process was initiated. He or she used to set his objective in line with the organizational objective. That we used to have a waterfall approach where the CEO objectives what defined as a corporate strategy, then the functional objectives, then the line objectives, and then the individual objective. So when I used to set my objective in the system, I could see my function head's objective, that what are his or her objective, and I have to integrate my objective with her objective, and the vice versa, same goes with my team as well. So from system, we used to run an annual appraisal cycle, and now the interesting integration part was the succession module, the people development module, where we used to assess people's potential, and based on their potential, we used to develop their individual development plans. So all this was happened in terms of integration of one process, which is a complete employee life cycle. Generally, organization stuck with defined phase. They said, oh, we have done a pilot project and we are good to go. Until unless you will not integrate the processes within your business, you cannot get the maximum output. Only the integrated process will bring the efficiency, will enhance the productivity, and will decrease the lead time. The whole journey I have explained you in bits and pieces used to take a lot of time of the year. Different parts of the year we used to initiate this, and then we used to plug in the data in the system, we used to integrate offline, and then we used to manage that. But once it was integrated in the system, again, if they have to see my whole employee life cycle at Fatma, they just used to click on my employee number, and all the data is available, starting from my name to age to grade to history to performance history to training history to potential to development plan, everything. And this was used to be available to all the line managers to making their decision making. They used to, then it's called informed decision making. Informed decision making, you have all the relevant information available, and then you can evaluate the situations, and accordingly you can take an informed decision. As far as next level is confirmed, that is called transformed level, where new approaches are emerging. Only then you can implement new approaches if you have something integrated available and you have the learnings available. If the systems are not integrated, if your whole process is not integrated, how would you be transforming the process and bringing the new approaches, or bringing the making your processes further lean? Products and services, new controls, obviously, as the world is moving towards the technology. I think I'm not a technology expert, but the kind of transformation happening across the world, day by day, every hour, after every hour, the new technology is coming, the new is happening in the digital side. So in all this 5 6 years phase, what is most important is the organizational culture and the transformational journey, how organizations step by step manage that, and that is very important. If organization don't take their stakeholders along, don't take their employees along, then to be honest, generally organization have defined phase and then they just dispersed. If you have to reach at a transformational level, at integration level, you have to this change has to become part of your culture every time. Like if you are going through from a manual process to a digital process, you have to create awareness everywhere, or from a small group to an organization level. It should be part of your strategy, it should be part of your annual operating plan, it should be part of your organizational objectives, functional objectives, and it should, and every person in the organization is accountable, is responsible to implement and bring this change. It's not just me, you, or any HR person or any CEO. It is the responsibility from top to bottom, everyone. As you implement any change, be it digital transformation, be it any other change, a lot of challenges you face as a stakeholder, a lot of challenges you face as a change agent, and most importantly is your organization culture, as I was explaining. So if your culture is not sinking, if the change is not inculcated at the nth level, if the transparent communication is not being shared from top to bottom, and it's not become part of your culture, you will feel the setback, rebuttal, and it happens when you do the pilot projects. If you are doing a pilot project from one function and that function is okay, but the other function is say, oh, we are okay without that, and you are not connecting the dots regularly and it is not becoming part of your culture, the chain will break there and your transformation journey will be halt. Then most importantly, resource management. Sometimes strategy is fine, commitment is there, everything is there, but if enough resources are not allocated, enough budget is not allocated, enough time is not allocated, competent team is not allocated, um, change doesn't happen. Then internal support. As I just given you example of two functions, internal support is very important, even the crucial part. Even sometimes you manage with the resource crunch, but without internal support, you can't manage the change implementation. So internal support, if I link it with my journey here at Sapphire, so internal support from the stakeholder, which were itself the manufacturing head, internal support from the CEO, internal support from the IT team, which were partnering with us day and night to make this change happen, internal support even from my own team. They take an extra stretch, although that was a specific, not their role, but they take an extra stretch to manage this change. So internal support over an organization, it's called interdependencies within the organization, within the functions. This is very important. Without the internal support, the change sometimes happened a bit tough. I apologize, I'm just managing the screen to show you, as I am also unable to read it. Guys, I apologize. So we were talking about challenges. My biggest learning towards my journey was A, the resource management, and B, the internal support. When you have internal support can drive your organizational culture. Internal support can drive your overall change management process. Internal support can be a partner with you to implement the change. And internal support cannot happen if you don't have a strong technological partner. If you have to do a digital transformation journey, you manage your culture, you manage your resource, you develop your internal support system. But if your tool is not that competitive enough to perform in your system, so this is again linked with your resource management, linked with your selection for the right people for the right job. This is very important for the whole process if you want to overcome your challenges. So my last few words would be digital transformation is all about mindset. If you all are much like young people, but if we see our mobile phone journey, so mobile phone journey started from a letter which we used to handwrite, send it, post it, and after many days, the other person used to receive it, and then they used to send our answer. And now, just on a click of a button, on a seconds, I think few seconds, your message reach across other person sitting anywhere in the world. So this is, I think, the biggest thing I always give example to people, that where we were and where we are right now, and world is still evolving around. Everything is just now available on just a click of a button on your mobile phone. Shop, you can pay, you can do payment through internet banking, you can do everything while just clicking on a button of your mobile phone. This is the kind of journey so far organization are making. And secondly, the COVID, during the COVID situation, you must all have experienced as a consumer of an online shopping. So online shopping started off, I guess, the, the the high time started in COVID. Before that, organizations were like here and there, they were working. The second thing I want to share about this thing is the Sapphire. Sapphire retail was ready for to be honest, the COVID breakdown. It was I shouldn't say, but it was in terms of business, it was a blessing in disguise. They were just ready. As COVID happened, lockdown happened, their e-commerce business took a lead, and their e-commerce business did very well in terms of revenue last year, when all the um, everything was closed, when lockdown was there. So they were working and they were earning the revenue. So it is important to take the advantage of the technology at a right time as well. So even in my previous organization, when the lockdown happened, the IT team was just ready to to support us, to assist us for work from home. We just have everything available as an official tool. We had the Skype available, so we used to have meeting on Skype. We used to have meeting on Zooms. Our VPNs were available. We just used to put our VPNs, and all our ERP system was available to us. And interestingly, as an HR, we did the complete mid-year while we were working from home remotely. So this was our success story there as well, that how we utilize the technology in tough times. With this, thank you very much for your time. I hope I am able to translate anything to you which is useful to you. While you will be attempting your maybe paper in the future, or maybe any discussion you will be having with your colleagues, or maybe any discussion you will be having around this topic in terms of your professional life when you are going to enter. Almas, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sadia, for sharing the rich insights from your experiences. And I'm sure it's going to help students overall enhance their understanding about the topic. And I do realize this digital transformation topic is such a vast topic, and it's just the humble intervention from ACCA's. And then, of course, I really appreciate your time, which you have taken out to communicate. We have a few questions received from
Sure.
the participants, and I would like to ask those questions. And at the same time, before we start the Q&A, I would request all of you, the attendees, the students, we may have the affiliates as well, those who have had the experiences. So please do put down your questions or comments and insights which you want to share with us, with the speaker, and any question you may want to ask. So this is an excellent opportunity for you to ask the seasoned HR professional and change manager, right? So my question which we have received, Sadia, is
Mm-hmm.
from Shahzeb. He's asking, do you consider digitalization as disruptive innovation?
In my point of view, as I'm not a very technical expert, but to be honest, in my point of view and in my throughout journey, no, it's not a disruption. It's a life savior for you, because when you are into professional life and you have to make certain decisions, these digitally transformed processes, the digitally available data helps you a lot to take informed decisions. So I wouldn't say it's a disruptive. I would say it's always beneficial. It's always the way how organization and people think about digital transformation. Everything have two sides, to be honest. Everything have two sides. It's the way you are utilizing it. And digital transformations have made our lives very easy. As a professional, if I say, over the I'm working almost now almost 2 decades, and I have seen this entire transformational journey, starting from a paper writing thing, a manual thing, to digitally available everything. Makes your lives even more easy in terms of HR professional, in terms of overall when it comes to you will be coming in your professional life, inshallah. So it is your partner, rather partner in growth now.
Thank you, Sadia, for the answer. And I think that we have been hearing a lot about the digital transformation, and every size of the business, whether it's small, medium, or large business, whether they sell service or whether they sell goods. So
Hmm.
I just want to ask you, once the digital transformation takes place, how do we know that the transformation has been successful and it is working in favor of the organization?
First of all, let me just link it with my e-commerce business. So Almaz, your numbers are telling you. So last year, 50%, rather more than 50% of your business came from e-commerce. Right now, this year's my whole plan comprises 60-40. It means 40% business has to come from the e-commerce. And your daily numbers are telling you, your daily data is telling you, your daily visitors on your website, your daily visitor from visiting the website to checking out the process, every step is telling me how successful my journey is. And this whole data is telling me the advancement I have to make on my website to make the customer experience even more beneficial to the organization, and obviously for the customer as well, how good the experience is in terms of having the online buying. So it's all about even my small journey, even my small project in terms of implementing the basic human capital management system. It's again telling you how organizations, their feedback, the system derived data, even their feedback now towards adding more value into the system to making their lives easy. So without data, without analytics, you have to do this on a rigorous basis, on a regularly basis, that how your current tool is working and how you can do it in a better way, from integration to transformation level. This is how organization rigorously doing it. And in terms of retail business, if I ask you, No, even starting from a small business who are having a on an Insta page only to a big organization like Sapphire or other Cardi and all, they are spending even more time on the digitally designed tools because in this era where we are operating now, where everything is digitalized, everything is available online, even your brand's image is dependent on how social media is responding towards the brand. Even the other day, I was reading something on a voice of a customer and how the players or the companies are concerned about it, that what people are writing about us on a social media and how we have to respond and how we have to improve further.
Thank you very much, Sadia, for the very insightful and detailed answer to that question. We have Mohammed Faisal Kadir who is asking that assume the organization does not have internal support, how it is going to affect on the digital transformation. And I do recall you did mention during your session about the overall critical factors which will contribute to the successful digital transformation.
Nothing can happen, the change cannot happen if it's not derived from the top. I will reiterate, top doesn't mean the CEO. Generally, it happens that if a decision has been taken that we have to do a digital transformation journey, and internal support only will not happen if you as an organization are not ready in terms of resource management, in terms of your digital platform, the kind of tools you have selected, and obviously your internal customer and stakeholder, what they need. The gap will only happen if the diagnostic analysis is not being done rigorously. Only then the support will not be available. If the diagnostic has done, you have diagnosed the issue, you have from diagnostic to implementation, you have devised a complete plan that what you will do at different stages of the project, then the internal support will be available. And at a CEO level, I don't think so that a CEO will embark to a journey where he or she hasn't taken entire organization means his leadership team on board, and transformation is not part of your strategy. Yes, things happen in our local organizations where at the start of every year when you are talking about your strategic plans, annual operating plans, and it's not been included in your annual operating plan, and at once you think that you need to do the digital transformation, then the rebuttal and the reaction will be there, because initially it's not part of your plan, you haven't allocated your resources, even you haven't allocated you haven't allocated your budget to there. So then you will feel that lack of support internally. Otherwise, such huge projects are very well planned and very well thoughted planned. It's part of your bigger strategy, which is 5 years plan, that where this organization will be after 5 years in terms of strategy, in terms of digitalization, in terms of processes optimization.
Thank you very much, Sadia, for the detailed answer for this. And I think often question comes with the digital transformation, where sense, because the audience for today, these are going to be the future finance professional, future accountants. And I think it makes sense if I ask this question, that in your experience for many years, which departments inside a business handle transformation the best? Does this is it the responsibility of each department, or there are some departments which have to contribute in order to make the transformation successful? And typically, does this pose any challenge in terms of departments contributing to the transformation?
Almaz, thank you very much for this very, very practical question. Actually, it happens. I will answer first. If the digital journey is happening across the organization in phases, then the response of the organization is different. But if the digital transformation journey, say in pharma, we started off with the initially with financial modules, then we started off with the manufacturing module, then and gradually we implemented the supply chain module and we implemented HR, and then the last was our online transportation management system, and then the BIs and so on and so forth. Um, as a, our first instinct as a human is to resist change, and it's obvious. It's in our nature as humans. Who was ready for the COVID? It took a lot of time to the governments and states and across the WHO to reinforce this message that this COVID is dangerous and you have to wear mask. No one was wearing mask before that. No, with over the time, people realized that yes, wearing a mask is helpful for us and it will save us. Same goes with any implementation journey in any organization. So I remember when we were having a combined payroll management implementation with finance and HR, the risk was there. It's not our work, it's not our work, it's your work, it's not my work. It happens. But these storming sessions ended up with the transformation. That yes, when people realize that it's the beneficial to both of us as well as to the organization and overall process and system of the organization, so people do collaborate. But first reaction is that people react, but at the same time, to manage or counter that reaction, it is very imperative how you are communicating that change across the organization, how you have planned your whole change management communication plan in the organization, how you have communicated to the people. Have you communicated to the people with the logic and rationale, that why we are doing it, what the benefit we will be getting it, and how this process will help to have a informed decision making. So in my experience, when you sell something to professional people with the logic and rationale, they do accept. But when you say that we have to do it, people do ask questions, and as a stakeholders, as a change agents, we should be ready to answer all those questions with logic and rationale.
Thank you very much, Sat. We have a question from Kiran, who is asking how much impact of organizational structure does it have on the digital transformation?
Please correct me if I understood your question right. You are linking it to your organizational structure in terms of making the digital transformation journey as a decision making, or you are linking it with the organizational structure in terms of approving hierarchy, or what? I will answer both. In terms of organizational structures, see, the digital transformation journey is all about lean structure, less time, informed decision making. So see, if I, let me give you example. See, my CEO is sitting in US, and he or my senior, one of my senior managers was sitting in US, and I was part of our, and we used to have to complete our annual appraisal cycle. So what we did, he came on VPN, I came on VPN, we connected and we closed that process. So if I talk about organizational structure, it means that structurally we implemented this thing that no matter where he or she was sitting, we managed to bridge the gap and we managed to close the thing. As far as overall structure and hierarchy is concerned, digital transformation actually also decrease that hierarchical culture as well, because in system you assign certain responsibility and authorities to people, and you complete that process in a less time. So if few things goes in different levels of the hierarchy for the approval, so in system you just put some certain qualifier and you said yes, this decision can be taken at this level. I hope I am able to answer your question.
Yes, I think to a greater extent, because the organizational structure, as you rightly mentioned, it has many sides of it. So you have justified answering to that question. So we have Umama who is asking, in terms of people showing the resistance about the change, and digital transformation is a big, massive change. So he's asking that if a small number of people shows resistance, what should be the attitude of organization towards them? Whether to ignore them as they are small in number, or try best to convince these small number of people to be part of the entire change.
Omama, thank you. Very good question towards change management. See, generally, when you are implementing change, you keep all these things in mind. So, as I mentioned in my last answer as well, when you are telling anything, people with logic and rationale, they do listen. So, certain chunk of people in the organization, as you say, are there. I have faced, I am facing. But when the larger population has already adopted the change, sometimes you need to understand two things. Either if there is a competence gap, sometimes someone is not digitally well oriented with the system like Oracle, like other tools. The person is not very well acquainted with the system and the digital tools. So first of all, you need to bridge the gap of the competence. So once you will bridge the gap of the competence, the person will perform because he or she will understand the system. For example, if someone doesn't know how to go in the system, log in, apply for a leave, and then which leave I have to apply, I have to drop down and all. I have to go in the system and I have to see, oh, I have 10 people in my function, how I can extract the report from the system. These are the basic trainings. If there is a competence gap or a skill gap, you try to bridge that gap. And when you bridge the gap, the acceptance is there. The second is a typical ways of working where you are trained on years and year basis and you are not ready to leave that style because you are comfortable. And change is tough, change is painful, change is is sometimes reinforced. So if I say that if you have bridged the competence gap, the skill gap, the person or the small chunk of people will accept the change. Generally, in my experience, if there is skill gap, generally that gap is covered and the change happen. In some scenarios where the gap is huge in skill, you have to replace the skill set. Replace a skill set means you have to replace that talent. So you have
Thank
to
you.
take tough calls in the business for the implementation. If a very small chunk, generally that small chunk managed through skill gap.
Thank you very much, Sadia, for this response. I hope the question is responded, but you can come again if you want more enhancement in terms of the areas of the question, because these are very important areas which Sadia has been covering in. And of course, there are many aspects to this overall digital transformation. Sadia, we have Mohammed Faisal who is asking how we link digital transformation with outsource and at what stage. If it gives the same result where all the resources or the sources are in-house, at what stage you decide to go and take the expertise from outside for the digital transformation?
Okay. See, organization take it in a two-way. Like I was just talking to my CIO in the morning, and we were talking that we need a HR solution end to end, where either we can outsource it or we can bring that entire solution in-house and implement it. When we say outsource, generally organization prefer to outsource it end to end to just save the time and save the resources and bring end to end things in-house. The organization there whose business models are in such a way where they want to do the in-house development and all the customization. Like in my previous organization, their business model was in such a way that they had a complete in-house IT team. They had Oracle ERP, their Oracle R12, and they used to do a lot of customization based on their business need, and that's why they want to do it in-house. A lot of organizations, since when the digital transformation journey is happening in like in my Sapphire, they have that Shopify software who is being used to do the online shopping. Generally, almost every brand is using the same. So a solution is available. So why they have to develop a solution in-house when the solution is already available in the market? So what they have done, they bought that solution, they brought it in-house, they brought in-house, plugged it, using it, but they have just outsourced the services. They are taking the services from the vendor. Third scenario is that you take off the shelf a tool available. Like these days, we're talking to different people like HRSG for Decibel or HRSG for Decibel or other like systems and all for end-to-end HR solution. We are starting from a recruitment module to learning the module to assessment and development. So I will take that solution for the market. And if I will feel the need, yes, I need to do some customization and my in-house IT is capable enough to do that, I'll do it. But if I don't feel the need, yes, the tool is fine. For that little customization, I don't have to have hire people in-house. So organizations are moving towards to outsourcing the end-to-end processes just to A, minimizing their in-house responsibility, and B, when the solution is already available, why they have to bring it in-house. It's all it again matter linked with the business to business model. In pharma, they didn't afford to have an outsource system. They have to have that in-house system because a lot of customization is required. I give you example. So this is a trend again. It's again organizational call and based on their strategy. It's very important to understand their organizational strategy and their plan. A lot of people in the country, like especially banks and all, they have outsourced end-to-end payroll, and they have outsourced to the organizations who are capable enough to manage that. So both the options are available. It's again linked directly with your organizational strategy.
Thank you very much, Sadia. We have this last question with us from Abubakar Hamid. I know that you are a seasoned HR professional and I'm sure you have collaborated with many other functions in the organization. So this question which is being asked, that can artificial intelligence eliminate the accounting or auditing function? So I understand that this is not directly related to your HR practices, but the transformation which you have worked on in your experience. So if we can apply this AI in a sense, that whether this there is a fear in people's mind that will it eliminate the overall need of the people who are running the expert functions like accounting, auditing function, like any other function, HR or marketing and anything else. So what are your comments on that?
Very good book question. I was talking to someone the other day that artificial intelligence has advanced so much that I think robots are enough to manage, or the ghost deploys are enough to perform. So very logical question. If I applied on my in terms of my true business situation, maybe audit, yes, because when you transform the digital process in such a way that yes, it can, because like let's say if auditing, some auditing system is directly linked in my retail store and all the qualifiers are there, so directly if something is happening, that directly the indications are coming from there. Accounting somehow yes, because in accounting it's all shared services, or your basic accounting. In terms of finance, in terms of strategy, I think no, there these functions will be needed. In terms of marketing, the brand establishment, brand positioning, yes, a lot of things can be outsourced. A lot of things can be eliminated, as Abubakar is saying, AI through AI. But my dear, remember one thing: a lot of things can be happen through AI, but still without humans intervention, things will not be possible to implement in a true lateral spirit. But few functions will vanish away in future. That's my assessment, that if they have to make relevant to the business, they have to bring something new to the business to make themselves relevant. Otherwise, organization have outsourced their entire auditing systems. The organization have outsourced their entire um, accounting system, and the kind of uh, development is happening in the digitally designed tools and other things. To be honest, maybe I tend to agree with Abu Bakr. Maybe few functions will not be there.
Thank you very much, Sadia, for your all exciting responses and insightful responses, I must say. The questions which participants have asked, and thank you very much for all the students who have participated and then you have contributed questions, and I'm very much hopeful that have found the session very much useful, as I have found this session very much useful. So just before we say goodbye to Sadia and to you all participants, just a reminder that the webinar will be a recorded webinar of the same will be placed on the Bridging the Gap landing page, where you can access, and please do share with your classmates and friends who are studying ACCA qualification, particularly at the strategic professional level. So with this, I wish you all the best. And I recall when Sadia said in the beginning that digitalization is all about the mindset. And I think with this mindset, you can apply in every part of your life, in every aspect of your personal and professional life, because any change which is constant throughout our life will bring good aspects and which will push us to refine ourselves and improvise ourselves. So thank you very much, Sadia, and thank you very much all the students, and I hope it can really help you relate the of ACCA with the practical topics we have tried to touch base. So thank you very much once again, and all the best.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, and all the best to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.